What up, guys? Welcome to Base Damage. Hope y'all are having a super awesome day today. I'm finally back from being on the road for a good little bit, so wanted to record some deck profiles and try to get a podcast squared away. But one of the first deck profiles I wanted to go ahead and give to y'all today is a deck made by my buddy Miroku. And this is definitely his love child. He borrowed a lot of cards from me, sure, because I had got the Trial Deck Pluses and whatnot. But he had worked building up his own little collection of the Apocrypha set and put together this concept. And he's like, "Hey, dude, you really like the standby stuff, so fuck it. Here, try this out for size." And I said, "Sure." And actually, very much enjoyed the deck. I feel there's some other little tweaks or maybe potential optimizations that could be done, quote unquote. But for now. Here is the setup, and I very much have enjoyed using this version. But we got like two more ideas in mind, but I want to go ahead and bring you to this one. This is also extremely budget. The most expensive card in this is actually in the level 0, so I'll show you that in a bit. But onto the deck profile with this. Let's get this underway. So Fate Apocrypha we have from the Trial Deck. Right off the bat is the level 0 Astolfo runner, so it's true name Rider of Black, and just free runner. So at the beginning of your opponent's stat phase, you can move him to an open position every center stage, just straight up. So he's a 002K. That's all that he has. Then we have going next to, I had to remember names here. Karna. This is Promise Rematch Lancer of Red. Is a 002K as well. On play, you can discard a climax to salvage back a master or servant character from your waiting room. And the entire deck's master servant, so you might as well just read character. Then we have, it was just 2 copies. 2 copies of Genesis, Caster of Black, or Avicii Bran. If I butcher that name, I apologize. But he is the first brainstormer of the deck. First, when you play a climax, you can choose one of your other characters, give them 1,000 power till end of turn. A little bit of a good effect to offset the fact that the standby climax does not offer any stat buffs. It doesn't do attack or soul power. It is solely just the summoning of the character. So this is a neat little way to offset that a little bit. If you have this as one of your back row ones, you play that and then proceed to give a little bit of a buff and then go off with your combos. So it's pretty good. His Brainstorm effect is pay 1, rest him, mill 4 for every climax, draw a card. Really good. Also from the Trial Deck is this Drop Searcher, Amakusa Shiro, and Semiramis. So 0025, on play, pay 1, pitch 1, search your deck for a master or servant character. Once again, it's the entire deck's master servant. There are a few non-master servant cards in the set, but they're very far and few between. So, but this deck doesn't run anything outside of that. We have 2 copies of the 00 Mordred Brainstormer. First off, it has hexproof. It can't be the target of your opponent's effects, which is just really good. It gives the middle center character 500 power. And then the Brainstorm effect is pay 1, rest her, mill 4 for every climax, you get to salvage back a character. So, and then the most expensive card in the deck, 4 copies of this double rare. This is the only, I think this is the only double rare. Trial Deck, yeah, I want to say that's the only double rare. I have to double check one card. No, that's a rare. Yeah. It's the only double rare in the deck, but even then it is like a $2 card. $2 to $3, and me and Miroku picked them up for like $1 a piece when they first came out. So. But it has a climax combo with the standby trigger. So the standby trigger has 2 climax combos in this deck at level 0 and at level 1. So when you play the climax, you can bounce them back to your hand, look at the top 2 cards of your deck, add one of them to your hand, discard the other goes to your waiting room, and then you discard 1 card from your hand. So it's a hand filter. But because it states you could just grab a card, you could grab another standby if you see that and you're like, oh, I want to be able to play this next turn because I think I'm going to go up a level or whatever. or whatever combination you see fit. That's the cool thing about the standby as well. You can play it at any level, and it just works out in your favor. So, but then the secondary effect is you can tap him, give a character 1,000 power till end of turn. So you can play, tap, give a buff, play the standby, bounce him back, do his effects, and then summon a bigger character in his place more often than not back row. But it's the fact that he just can keep doing stuff every single turn. It's great. So then we have, and if you want to, you can also discard him for his own cost because he's back in hand by that point. So that is it for the level 0s. We have, should be 8, 12, should be 16 level 0s right there. Next we have the level 1s. We are going to get some very fun stuff in here. I need to grab that gate trigger, the standby trigger again, because we have another climax combo right here with this level 1 Semiramis. First off, she's a level 1 reverser, which is just great because it helps just kind of deter your opponent from wanting to kill her. But at the same time, she has a climax combo on attack. You can pay 1 if you got the climax in play. You can salvage back a character. So really good to be able to go keep maintaining some hand advantage. A little bit of a cost of a stock, but it's kind of whatever. If you want. Then we have 4 copies of what I consider to be the main standby target for your level 0 game. Is going to be this 1/1 Karna Gold Armor Lancer of Red. It's a 1/1 5,500. It gets 500 for each of your other master or servant characters, and he has character encore. So can maintain and stay alive even if your other stuff dies, as well as he just gets really big. So full field, he's a 1/1 7,500. If you get the like the Mordred or whatever, you can have him sit as an 8K for a good bit with character encore. But it's just really good beat stick to be able to maintain some field presence. Then we have, this is also from the draw deck, because a event is a 1/0 red event, summoning right. It's like Drum Barrel from Kantai, if anybody's seen me talk about that or seen that card. When you play it, you look at up to 4 cards from the top of your deck, add a master or servant character amongst it to your hand, and the rest go to your waiting room. Then this goes to your waiting room. And that's it for the level 1s, so that is 12. Next we have, going to the level 2s. I hear the phone ringing in the background, so that's going to be great. Too bad. I'll call them back later. First off, we have this level 2 Atalanta as a 2/1 5K. She's a level assist in front, so 500 times the character level in front of her, which is very relevant for a standby deck. Because you can get out bigger level 2s and level 3s very early on. Then being able to play her, you're going to have a much bigger buff, even just by level 2. Your stuff's going to be huge, and your opponent's going to have that much harder over time. But one of the really awesome effects that she has, though, is an act that lets you pay 2 and send her from the field to the waiting room. So you had to be able to play her and then do this. To be able to summon this Atalanta from the waiting room. Wait, from the waiting room? Hold up. Let me see. I'm doing this. It's from your hand. I apologize. It's from your hand. I misspoke. You summon this Atalanta from your hand to the field, and it's just a really good change effect, because I've done this in a couple games. At level 1, standby the Atalanta in, and then I'm still at level 1 the next turn, and then summon the level 3 Atalanta, and you have a level 3 out at level 1, which is fucking hilarious to me. But 2 copies of her. I'm very much considering bumping her up to 3. But that's one for a future tweak. One of the future tweaks me and Tim are thinking of is Atalanta Turbo, put it that way. But then we have this Achilles is a 2/1 65. If the number of your other master servant characters you have is 2 or more, sorry, I had to make certain I was remembering it correctly, he gets 3,000 power. The reason I had to remember that effect correctly is I actually very rarely summon him. Like, so more often than not, I can summon big enough stuff that will just stay. That he's a backup. He is not in the form of a character backup, but he is a backup character you can summon for just 1 cost in case shit happens. Because then with his effect, he's a 2/1 95. with character encore as well, so that's really good. Then the level 2, the target for your level 1 game for playing your standby is this 2/2 Mordred. It is Promised Feast Saber of Red. It's a 2/2 7K. Let's see, I have to make certain I got this number correctly as well. Okay, it has a, I was like, there's another effect. It has a effect that lets you play it for free, but we don't run that level 0 that you sack for it. But I was like, okay, wait, there's another effect. I need to double check this. But we don't run that card in this, so it's whatever. So the actual effect that you look for is the number of Master Servants you have is 2 or more. This gets 2,500 power and Character Encore. So Character Encore being very prevalent in this deck over multiple cards, as you can see. But she's also just gets really big. She also becomes a 2/2 at that point. But you kind of want the soul a bit more for that. So this is one of the better. This is the better card to summon as opposed to the Achilles. So, and that is it for your level 2s. And one of the reasons we're talking about Atalanta Turbo is because of how really fun this level 3 Atalanta is. Now that we're in the level 3s. So yeah, this is a 3/2 10K. But as long as you have another Master or Servant character on field, she gets 1,500 power, putting her at 11,500 base. That's just straight up, like, constantly just overpowered strong. If she's in the center stage during your opponent's turn when damage you received is not canceled, you can look at the top card of your deck and either leave it on top of the deck or put it into the waiting room. And we're talking about an Atalanta Turbo where you just have as many copies of her on the field as possible, so every time your damage gets, the damage you would take doesn't get canceled, you can look at the top card of your deck for every copy that you have of her on the field. There's separate instances of it, sure, but you could potentially dig down and save yourself if you dig enough cards off the top of your deck to potentially reach a climax. So if you see it's a climax, you're just like, oh, I'm leaving it up there. Guess what's getting canceled, kids? So that's why. It's really good. It's really fun, too. Then we have 3 copies of this 3/2 Amakusa Shiro. The turn that he's played from 2 stage from hand, he gets 1,500 power. Also on play, you can salvage back a character from the waiting room, which is very relevant because of his climax combo, which we're going to get to right now. I have to put her down for a reason. So, climax combo is when his battle opponent becomes reversed. You can pay the cost, which is paying 2 stock and discarding a copy of the level 1 Semiramis, and you can restand him. The climax being Conflict of Desires, this has to be in play. It's a 1K1 salvage trigger. So you play the climax, reverse, pay 2, pitch her, and restand and attack again. You only get it once per turn, but it's great. So really interesting and fairly cheap little restand effect. Considering that I know that on the podcast that we had for talking about the Apocrypha set. I don't know if I've got ReZero on the brain too, forgive me. When we initially talked about that, I know I talked bad about this card because I feel that it's excessive. I feel that you shouldn't have to pay that much stock as well as discard a specific card under a specific climax and specifically have to reverse the opponent. It's not bad, it's just too much. Like, I feel that should be, like, reduce the stock cost by, like, 1. You leave it at 1, or so, like, so you just pay, so the fact that he builds up that stock, I guess it would be too much because then he still gets back the overall stock from the thing. But it's the fact of he has to do so much specific stuff, has to reverse, has to be the specific level 1 that you discard. It's just a little much for me, and I'm like, come on. Come on, Bushi Road. This isn't like so long ago where cost was dumb. Anyway, so as much as I know I talked about that, I didn't like it, but it's not difficult to pull off. I just feel that it's excessive. The last level 3 that we have is this 3/2 Mordred. On play, you can look at cards off the top of your deck equal to the Master Servants that you have, counts yourself, so you can look at up to 5. Grab a card amongst them, add it to your hands, and the rest to your waiting room. So you can potentially dig for the climax combo for him, or whatever you need. So, get your resources here. And then on attack, make certain I'm reading this correctly, 1,000 by the number of other. Okay, so when she attacks, you can give her 1,000 power equal to the number of other master servants you have, so you can get up to 4,000 power off that. So it become a 13-5. It's great. That is it for the level 3s. And lastly, obviously, is the climaxes. As you already saw, is 4 copies of the 1K1 salvage and 4 copies of the standby trigger. Yes. But that is it for the deck. It's definitely been very awesome to run, and I've enjoyed it greatly. There's other iterations me and Miroku are working on and attempting to just kind of put together. We have the cards for it. It's just a matter of figuring out ratios that we want to do, because reasons. Also, climax combo changes because I want to experiment with stuff. But definitely very fun. Definitely going to be something that we work on more in the future. Thank y'all very much for watching. This deck is extremely budget. I need to like calculate up exactly how much it is, but this is a very, very awesome budget deck, and it definitely obtains the Kool-Aid seal of approval. So thank y'all very much for watching. Please subscribe if you want. If not, hey, just thanks for stopping by to check out the video, and we will see y'all on the flip side. Peace out for now.